Hello, salutations, what it do? It's Dr. Gamer, all father, the Do-Rag Gang, you know the vibe, like a scribe, let's get it. Good morning, everybody. What's up, what's up? What's up, Jorge? Beastin, Original. What's up, Aqua? Second best moderator in the business. Guy in Bush. Oh, Looney, what's up? How's everyone doing? What's up, Luis? Finally back. Finally here. Saturday mornings. What's up? What's up, Technique? What's up, Wyatt? Daniel, what it do? What it do, James? Armando? What's up, Quabina? What's up, Demon? How's everyone? What's up, Chris? Got your PS5? Nice, nice. Nice. What's up, Daniel? Doing well. I'm decently rested. Ready to dive in for another edition of Super News. What's up, Alex? So, no news so far about the new Marvel MMO game, the Wonder Woman game, Suicide Squad, Gotham Knights, though I think Gotham Knights will be coming out probably around summer, and I'm expecting Suicide Squad near the end of the year. But it's been a pretty substantial week for Marvel's Avengers, so we're going to be just discussing everything. Specifically, we're going to be breaking down this interview that Miller did with Doom Killer HD. If you want to watch the full interview, it's pretty good. I recommend it. ! Doom. Go head over to his channel. Always a good follow. He produces really good content. Dive back like Saturday morning cartoons. Yes, sir. So Miller essentially did a sit down with Doom. He's going to do another one tonight on FKNA's podcast on Twitch. And he had a lot to say. A lot of it stuff that I knew before, but he had some more details. And I know a lot of people don't know all the stuff that Miller's been talking about. So this was a kind of good place to, get everybody caught up on everything. I'm going to be talking about the interview because there was a lot to go over. I'll also talk about Marvel's Avengers' new patch, which made a lot of people very angry. If you didn't know, there was a workaround, for the raid. There was people who didn't want to wait a week to get the weekly rewards for the raid and the OLT. They could essentially time travel using their systems and get around the whole time gating aspect of the raid so that they can level up their heroes to 175 fast. Fortunately, that was patched this past Thursday, which took away pretty much a lot of people's incentives to play the game more than once per week, if at all, which is unfortunate. So we'll talk about that. But first, let's get into this Miller interview. There's a lot to go over, but it was a good time. I actually did watch the full VOD, and once again, shout out to Miller for giving me a shout out as well. Because of this, my connection to the whole Miller story with the mystery character and everything like that, I've found myself appearing in a lot of different news publications. I was mentioned in Forbes, Screen Rant, Game Rant. I've been making rounds in all the publications because of this mystery character. It's pretty crazy. But smash that like button and let's get into it. First, we're going to talk about Ultron. For those who don't know, yes, Ultron is indeed a thing. He is coming to Marvel's Avengers. Ultron has been teased for quite a while. If you've been noticing the changes in Roy that they've been rolling out over different updates, that's been the lead into Ultron. And they've really, I think, made it clear that that's the direction they're going with the Monica Cosmic Cube villain sector. After you defeat Monica, if you go to the anthill, there's a extra cutscene that happens where after they put the Cosmic Cube away, Roy sneaks in and grabs the Cosmic Cube for himself, and then it cuts out. So I think that's going to be the jumping off point that gets us to Ultron, and it'll be through Roy. But Miller got into more detail just about the extent of Ultron's involvement in the game. So he told us last year before the teases that Ultron was going to be in the game because he's in they found Ultron in the files. He's got a bunch of moves and everything like that already in the files. In fact, Ultron was actually originally going to be the main villain in the campaign instead of MODOK. If you notice during some of the missions in the campaign when you're fighting MODOK, when you see, some of the AIM forces being overtaken by red energy, that was an effect of Ultron. That was originally going to be how Ultron co-opted enemies in the game. That was the original goal, but they ended up pivoting to MODOK and moving Ultron further down the line. So Ultron is going to be coming separately later on instead of in the main campaign. And Miller actually said that Ultron, he's expecting to come very soon. And he didn't say that like the Crystal Dynamics, sarcastic soon, like he meant it like an actual pretty soon that Ultron is coming. Now, Miller doesn't know, or if he did, he didn't say, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't know whether or not Ultron is going to be an Omega level threat or a villain sector similar in scale to Monica with the Cosmic Cube. But it is going to be like a separate big villain type of event. My guess is it'll probably be an OLT, I think, at least on that level in terms of the difficulty, but it'll have, some more story components. To that end, Miller specifically said that he thinks Hank Pym has a confession to make. So I think they're going to draw more from the comics. As you know, in the MCU, Ultron was created by Tony Stark and Bruce Banner collaborating, but in the comics, this was Hank Pym creation, and that's what they're doing for this game. Apparently, Hank Pym in this universe has been working on a side project that resulted in Ultron, and Ultron apparently has been influencing Roy this entire time and is going to be the cause of the eventual, Ultron coming to be. So I think what's happening is Roy isn't necessarily Ultron, but Roy is being controlled by Ultron and is being instructed to steal the Cosmic Cube on his behalf so that he can power up his body. And and part of the story is going to be that Hank Pym is going to be confessing that, oh God, yeah, I was working on this thing and I think I might have screwed the world. So that's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to whenever they roll out Ultron. I'm expecting if Miller's time frame of soon, which is obviously vague, then I would expect Ultron to appear on the 2022 roadmap as either a villain sector or a Omega level threat. since the roadmap should cover a decent portion of 2022. I think it's safe to say that if that's their plan, he should pop up on the 2022 roadmap. Now, the end of the 2022 roadmap and possibly the end of the game is going to be Captain Marvel. Now, Miller was insistent that Captain Marvel is going to be coming this year. That's a thing. And that their plan is to drop Captain Marvel with a raid. And the way her addition to the game is going to work is that Captain Marvel is going to be more like an expansion, and the way they're going to be doing these updates for the new characters is going to be similar in terms of the outline to what we got with our first crop of heroes. So, with Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, they were operations that gradually improved in scale, and then we got War for Wakanda, the full-blown expansion, the new biome with the raid attached to it. And that seems to be the plan for 2022 as well. There's going to be a She-Hulk operation, like an actual operation with a story, missions, and a villain, just one villain. Same for Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes. And then Captain Marvel is going to get a full expansion, similar in scale to Black Panther and War for Wakanda. And the plan is to drop a raid, and it sounds like the raid is going to come after the Captain Marvel expansion, just like with War for Wakanda. So towards the end of the year, I'm thinking Captain Marvel, and then towards maybe a few months after that, the Captain Marvel raid. The Captain Marvel expansion is going to be kind of the conclusion, or the way he described it, the season finale of the whole Kree storyline that we've had so far. So at that point, it's going to be kind of up to the publishers, which is Square Enix, whether or not they want to continue Marvel's Avengers, pull the plug, work on a sequel, or do something else. But essentially, the way the story is going to go, it could very well be the end, and that'll be it. So it'll be kind of like a conclusion, but leave the door open for something else. It'll depend entirely at that point on Square Enix. So Captain Marvel is going to come in. There's going to be a whole Kree invasion thing going on. There's going to be a raid, possibly another character. War Machine is not completely ruled out as a character, and it's possible that they will bring him in for the Captain Marvel expansion as well. And the mystery character is supposed to come out before She-Hulk, and the idea for that is as kind of like a placeholder, so that there's like a gap in content before She-Hulk. So the idea was for them to throw something in to kind of surprise us, since we knew so much based on leaks. So they tried to throw something in, but unfortunately Miller knew about that one too. So the mystery character is coming before She-Hulk, and the latest is that if you listen to the interview with Miller, they narrowed the potential down to Shuri, Jane Foster, and Yelena. But I think Doom accidentally eliminated Jane, so it's realistically between Shuri and Yelena for the mystery character. But if assuming they don't pivot, the plan is going to be mystery character, Shuri or Yelena, She-Hulk, Operation, Winter Soldier, Operation, Captain Marvel expansion. That's going to be the whole order of 2022. And then hopefully they'll have other content in between all of that, like cloning labs, finally, patrol mode, which officially has not been canceled yet. They are still working on patrol mode, but they can't release it until they get joint in progress working Otherwise, there's no point in doing it. That's why they delayed it in the first place. So, but they're still trying to get patrol mode in there. I'm hearing they're still trying to get cloning labs out, and there's going to be some kind of Ultron villain event, and that seems to be the most of 2022. So the roadmap is going to be revealed probably in February. They're still on vacation in January, so don't expect really anything in January except for skins. But I'm thinking February is probably around the time we'll see the roadmap, and the content-wise, the plan seems to be mystery character, the She-Hulk and Winter Soldier Operations, Captain Marvel expansion, Captain Marvel raid, patrol mode, and maybe cloning labs. That seems to be where they're going with that. And Captain Marvel is going to be the season finale in terms of the story, as well as in terms of development, time, and content. They have not developed anything beyond Captain Marvel and her raid. So once that's done, the future of Marvel's Avengers will depend entirely on Square Enix and whether or not they want to continue. And then they'll have to start from there and, build out a new story or to continue and new characters. So we'll see. But this could be the last year for Marvel's Avengers. But if they nail all of this, it could be a good one. Also, he shed a little more light on the campaign and stuff that got cut. In the main campaign, I mentioned that Ultron was originally supposed to be a part of the main campaign. That was removed. Thor was also supposed to be a much bigger part of the Reassemble campaign. He had a whole storyline about how he shaved his head, felt like he was unworthy, and that's why he was able to walk around essentially in a t-shirt in the world without anyone knowing. But they were getting backlash about their design choices, and they panicked and ended up cutting Thor's whole storyline out of the main campaign, which in my opinion made the campaign a lot worse and ended up making people that are fans of Thor pretty annoyed, because as you know, without that part of the campaign, essentially you play for Thor for like 5 minutes and then that's it. It's mostly Kamala Khan, then it's you get a little bit of Iron Man, a little Black Widow, some Hawk, some Cap, but not a lot of Thor. So the idea was to have Thor have a much bigger role, but they did end up cutting it for that reason, which was unfortunate. Also, they also were planning on having Taskmaster have a much bigger appearance in Future Imperfect. If you've played the Hawkeye DLC Future Imperfect, you probably noticed that it felt incomplete, and that's because there was supposed to be this whole section where Taskmaster shows up again. You fight Taskmaster, and Hawkeye ends up shooting him in the head. They had a whole boss fight plan. They had different cutscenes, but they responded to feedback that people were tired of fighting Taskmaster and seeing Taskmaster all the time. So they ended up cutting all that out without having a replacement. So that resulted in just that part missing from the campaign. So we saw previews of Taskmaster when they were promoting it, but he doesn't end up actually appearing in the DLC itself, and it made it make less sense. So yeah, unfortunately, that seems to be a pattern going on in Crystal Dynamics. The planning stage isn't very well done. They'll plan stuff, and then the higher ups will make the devs scrap it at the last second, and they have to scramble to get things into place. That's why Miller was saying how remarkable it was that Avengers came out the way it was, as good as it did, because there is a skeleton crew working on the game. They are very limited in the resources they get from Square Enix, and the management and leadership structure is quite frankly a mess, and a lot of those leads and managers do need to step down because they don't know what they're doing. And that's pretty much what the devs have been dealing with this whole time. They're given impossible tasks. They're told to do all this stuff. They don't have a lot, and they're not given enough time and resources. And that's pretty much what we get. That's pretty much the result, unfortunately. So, give the devs some slack. Your beef is mainly with management and Square Enix. But speaking of that, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was supposed to be a lot more involved in Marvel's Avengers. The plan was they're going to have Phil Coulson, horny Gemma Simmons as NPCs, and that's why Quake was also in the game files. They were thinking they were big fans of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and wanted to have them involved more in the game, but because the official MCU, distanced itself from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel games, I'm thinking, ended up being like no, and they ended up pivoting away from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. references. So that's why we don't have Phil Coulson, we don't have Gemma Simmons, we don't have any of that. But that was the original plan. Like I said, I think that covered. So I covered the Ultron Hank Pym confession. War Machine potentially launching with Captain Marvel as a double character. Miller said that he would be shocked if She-Hulk wasn't out by April. That's kind of lines up with my timeline. I'm thinking January is going to be like kind of a dead month. So I'm thinking February, they show the roadmap. March, maybe they start promoting a new character, and then by April we get our first big character, in this case being She-Hulk. So maybe the mystery character comes out in March and She-Hulk comes out in April. That could be how they do it. But She-Hulk should be relatively soon to the game. You shouldn't have to wait that long to get the She-Hulk. But don't expect anything in January. Miller also believes that they're going to be doing some kind of update to Melee alongside of She-Hulk. Kind of like there was a gear and resources we work with the Claw Raid. Not confirmed, but it is very much possible She-Hulk will be the third character in a row, possibly fourth. that is a Melee focused character, and they are aware of our complaints about Melee being in this game. Alex has talked about this. Alex is who he did the gear for the raid and War for Wakanda. He knows that we don't like Melee. Melee is a problem in this game. It needs to be buffed. He's trying to put changes into Melee slowly so that everything doesn't get completely overwhelmed. But the plan is to eventually improve Melee so that it's more in line with range. So She-Hulk should get some kind of buff to Melee because she is going to be a Melee focused character. She also is going to, according to Miller, have a interesting hero kit that's based around teamwork. Miller didn't go into too much detail there, but curious to see how that works out. And real quick, there was a patch on Thursday. The shipments refreshed. We got Civil War Hawkeye. Got a new patch that was addressing some of the problems with the raid. Some of those bugs that they said they patched were not patched, unfortunately. And the biggest thing that was patched, though, was the time travel glitch. The people that were using the time travel exploit to skip to get around the time gating found that was patched so that they can no longer play the raid as many times as they want, so that they can increase their gear to 175. that's been patched. There have been rumors that there's a workaround, but so far nothing official. So if you were using this exploit to get the 175, you can't do it anymore. People are upset about this because they really were interested in playing. I know I can attest to the fact that a lot more people I know were interested in playing Marvel's Avengers when they could bypass the ridiculous time gating. Because without time gating, if you want to get your character to 175, it will take you 15 weeks per character to increase them to 175, which is a stupid amount of grinding even for a looter. It makes no sense, because at this point, Avengers is what it is. They have a relatively small but pretty dedicated player base. Everybody that wants to play is still here. So I don't understand why you're putting up barriers to prevent people from playing. I understand the thinking, and I think the leads and management made this decision. They're trying to stall for time. The reason why they do these weekly resets is because they want people to come to the game consistently when there's a marketplace update so that they can sell some skins. But the problem with that is this game cannot support aggressive time gating like that. So what instead happens is, rather than people playing the game frequently, they get frustrated and then they just leave. Because what's the point of playing a game if it's going to keep putting up barriers to prevent you from playing? I understand they didn't intend for you to be able to do these time travel exploits, but at the same time, they should have looked at it as an opportunity to correct a mistake, because people told them, stop time gating content. You don't have enough content to do it. Other games do it because other games have stuff for you to do and they update content regularly. This game does not have a lot of stuff to do, and it does not have regular updates. You cannot time gate the few activities they are, and on top of that, tie progression to that time gating. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous that you have to wait a week to upgrade your character. It's 15. So, and it's worse. Once you hit 160, you can't play. Once you hit 160, you can't play the OLT or the normal raid anymore to increase your character. Those are dead activities. Once you hit 160 on your character, they're completely dead. They're not going. The gear that you get from the normal rate and OLT is capped at 150. You cannot go beyond that once you hit 160. So the only thing you can play is the elite raid once you hit 160. So that's one mission per week per character to upgrade your hero beyond to 175. And after you do your weekly completion for that elite raid, you can only, if you replay it, you only get one piece of gear randomly rolled. That's it. This is the elite raid. It's a elite version of a piece of content that's already like an hour commitment, and you're getting one piece of gear after completing the mission chain, and it's not going to take you higher towards 175. So it was a gift that people were able to get around this with the time travel exploit and just play the raid however many times they wanted. It was like it wasn't hurting the game or anything. It was actually making it better. Like, people were engaged. Like, Doom had this really interesting event, the Secret Wars. He's got another one coming up, Determine the Power. So people were leveling up, increasing their character, and trying out different things because, hey, there was a reason to grind the game again. Now that there's no time travel exploit, that cuts off the incentive for endgame players to play the game anymore. And I don't know why. they insist on ignoring this feedback and time gating all of their content. Fortunately, the shipments, they didn't get to that. So the units glitch to get infinite units. From what I know, it still works. It's a little different. You have to do it once you get to the fabrication machine in the campaign after the Iron Man mission. You have to go to the codex instead of the character menu, and you still get the pattern, which you can then convert into units. However, there is a way to get the Hawkeye MCU suit for free, essentially, without, it's already free, but essentially without spending all of your units. So it was discovered that the shipment tracker is saved server side, not client side, which means that if you upload your save data to the cloud and then go into the game and you buy your shipments. So you buy your shipments. If you then close the game out and download your save, it will reset to before you started buying. So you'll get all your units back, but your progress through the shipment will still remain where it was. So for instance, if you upload your save to the cloud and you buy 50 shipments, trying to get to that Civil War suit. If you close out and then download your backup save, you will have all of your units back as if you didn't spend, for the 50 shipments, but it'll still say you went through 50 shipments. So once you get that Civil War Hawkeye skin, you can then, once you approach that Civil War Hawkeye skin, you can essentially just load your backup save, go back in and buy it. And then that's it. So you'll only end up spending 500 units. So and you can keep doing that. So as long as the progress tracker is client side, you can essentially go open all 100 shipments for free. You have to do it. So there you go. Another way to stick it to Crystal Dynamics. Snitch Ridiculous already made a video on it. I'm sure they're scrambling to patch that too, because essentially you can just keep getting all these new shipment skins and not spend any units on it. So obviously they don't want that, but for now there's no workaround for the time travel. So if you're trying to farm your character to 175 quickly, you can't do that anymore. Now I'll open it up to any questions you have about Miller, the update, anything like that. Think Snitch Ridiculous is bad for the game. It's actually funny that that there's every week someone makes a Reddit thread about how Trix Ridiculous is bad for the game and they blame him. It's not his fault. The devs know about this stuff. Blame them for patching it. You hope is Yelena. I definitely am not a fan of Yelena. She's okay in the MCU. I'm not looking forward to just literally playing Black Widow with a different head. Yeah, it's definitely not Trix's fault. You should never lose sight of the fact that time gating is the problem, not Trix Ridiculous. The problem is not him. It is time gating. That is the problem. Get on Crystal Dynamics for time gating. Do you agree with the engine and sequel statement by Miller? I don't think that this game should get a sequel if it's going to be the same studio working on the same engine. I don't. I think there's a reason that Unreal Engine is so popular. Proprietary engines are always really tricky, and some studios make it work. Some have really good proprietary engines. A good example is Sucker Punch, who did Ghost of Tsushima. They're working on a proprietary engine that's really good. The foundation engine that Crystal Dynamics is working on is not. It's bad, and they definitely could do better. On top of that, they could definitely stand to do next gen only. Obviously, if they're going to do a sequel, it has to be next gen exclusive. That's been another thing that's been holding the game back. It's the combination of not being next gen exclusive and working on a proprietary engine that is pretty outdated. But I'm skeptical. Miller seems to think that a sequel would be well received. I don't think it would be. Crystal Dynamics definitely needs to have some big changes, particularly at the management level, if they're going to be in charge of another sequel. Because even though the game did sell well and overall did make some money, that's not the perception, and that you can't really get past that. So I am skeptical that a Marvel's Avengers 2 is going to be in the works. Or I know Square Enix has the license for one more game. I'm skeptical that they're going to take the Avengers Foundation and continue on with it. I think they're going to give it to someone other than Crystal Dynamics. I mean, they literally said it at the shareholder meeting. They said they thought Crystal Dynamics was the wrong studio to put on this project. So I have a hard time believing that Square Enix is going to change their mind and say, no, actually they are, even though we just said in front of our shareholders, we think Crystal Dynamics was a bad fit for this project, we're totally going to put them in charge of a sequel. Like, it's not happening. Was the mystery character revealed? No, Miller has kept his mouth shut. He is refusing to say who the mystery character is for reasons of not wanting to burn his source. Give the Sucker Punch Rocksteady. Insomniac has a lot of stuff they're working on, so they're definitely set when it comes to Marvel. When do you think Nick Fury will come back? Nick Fury, if he's not back by Ultron, I'm expecting him back by Captain Marvel. They seem to figure their soul players while increase level cap in order to tie in behind the raid. I do agree, and they are aware of that feedback that solo players want to be able to level up as well. I'm not sure if it's something they're going to do, if they're going to adjust quickly. I know it was directly suggested to the devs that they make Last Avenger Standing part of the whole level up your character beyond 150 mission chain. Nothing concrete yet, but they are aware that solo players want to be able to increase their power level. What's a good company that makes live service games? I guess it would depend on what you mean by good company. Yeah. There have been very successful live service games. Genshin Impact, Destiny, the Division, Fortnite, but they all want the money. So this is going to be always going to be complaints. 2K, they are all live service games are in general fraught with the same problems. There's a reason why they have a bad reputation. DC Universe Online has been going on for 10 years. There are a lot of, World of Warcraft. There are a lot of live service games out there that are very well received. You know, No Man's Sky still going on, Warframe still going on. No Man's Sky famously had a very rough start, still complete 180. Now it's considered a success. It's still going on. So you can make a good live service game that people like. The problem is that certain studios, EA, for example, will put out a new live service game, and they'll cut all the corners. You know, they'll ignore the bugs and everything like that. You know, they'll gouge the players. It's always a mess. You know, that's why we're seeing a lot of backlash from players about Halo and Battlefield. You know, those games, you know, you had Amazon put out a game, you know. So live service games have that reputation for a reason, because they keep coming out, because live service games keep coming out that, and in such a state that justifies people hating live service games, but they can work. Battlefield 2 made one of the biggest comebacks in the gaming world, and they shut it down for Asphalt 2042. Got to get that cough cleared. Take 2 of these microtransaction tablets twice a day. Battlefront was one of the best live services from 2019. Yes, Battlefront 2 ended up getting shut down, but it got a good reputation towards the end, because they did the work to make changes. You know, Final Fantasy 14 started as a complete dumpster fire, and then they put in the work, they took a step back, and they said, okay, we're going to fix it. And now people are really all into Final Fantasy 14. You just got AC Valhalla. So yeah, see, it can work. You know, live service games can be good, but it depends on the studio. Does the studio, one, care about putting out a good product at launch, or are they going to have the mindset of, it doesn't matter if the product is garbage at launch, we can still take people's money and we'll just have the devs crunch and fix it later. That's what you always got to look out for. Yeah, speaking of which, there was a reveal of a Star Wars game, Star Wars Eclipse, that looked interesting. I'm sure a lot of you saw it. I think they showed it at the Game Awards. I'm hearing behind the scenes already that game is going to be a dumpster fire. They're already, apparently, according to rumors, having development issues. So just look out for that. That could be another disaster. But yeah, when live service games are good, they're really good. When they're not, you know, it's bad. Sucker Punch, I think, could do a successful live service game. Ghost of Tsushima isn't live service, but it has gotten a bunch of updates. It started out as a single player game, and then they got a whole multiplayer looter mode added to it after the fact, and it's really great. So it can be done. There's rumors that Rocksteady is going to make Suicide Squad a live service game. Rocksteady has a very good reputation, so maybe Suicide Squad, if it is a live service game, that can be one of the exceptions. So that needs its own MMO game. I'll happily take I'm a simple man. Like when Midnight Suns was announced, if Midnight Suns literally kept everything about Midnight Suns, if you kept all those features except for the strategy game, card game part, if you just remove that and replaced it with a more traditional open world third person action game, that would be my game. I'd be good with that. I play that forever. Give me a nice story-driven, lore-rich superhero game, great graphics. You know, you can create your own character, customize your powers, meet other players out in the world. Yeah, give me those MMO aspects, but you know, a nice superhero story, rich in lore, great costumes. Give me all of that with a really good combat system. Similar to Avengers. Avengers, to their credit, once again, they nailed the combat when it comes to individual heroes. That's something you can't take away from them. But if you took something like that and put it on the Midnight Suns instead of it being a turn-based card game, that would be perfect. That would be a perfect game to me. I would play that forever. I would drop every game I'm playing immediately, and that would just be my game. That would be the game I'm covering on the channel. That's it. But for some reason we can't quite get it. Can't quite get it. But maybe Suicide Squad can be that game. Who knows? You know, the story is good. They got a nice selection of characters. I thought a game based on the Suicide Squad is interesting. We saw briefly of what the gameplay looked like. I saw what looked like some takedowns. I saw really good traversal. So it could be great. That could be it. But we'll have to wait and see. You want a Moon Knight game? Yeah, I think Moon Knight. I think they're going to have a Moon Knight game at some point, depending on how popular he ends up being in the MCU. It's very possible. I'm not allowed to be happy. It feels like that sometimes. Nerds enjoy those whack cards. And that's the thing. I don't even have a problem with card games, or like I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh competitively. I have no problem with card games. I don't have a problem with strategy games. I was just very disappointed that Midnight Suns ended up being a card game, because I looked at it, I'm like, because I was reading it, I'm like, oh, this sounds like it would be a perfect action adventure game. And it's like, oh no, it's actually, it felt like a waste. The only negative Suicide Squad is the lack of Boomerang stuff in Captain Boomerang. I don't know what you mean. We got a very brief glimmer, a very, very small glimpse of Captain Boomerang's gameplay, and some cinematic action. From what we can tell, he does in fact have his boomerang, and he is a speedster like in the comics. So Captain Boomerang looks awesome, and I'm going to be maining him on day one. If they had the Reverse Flash or Deathstroke Suicide Squad, that would be crazy. Like the potential is there. You know, a live service Suicide Squad game, raids. There was a rumor that there was going to be a Rage Al Ghul raid. You know, you add DLC characters that you can play as, like Reverse Flash. That would be insane. Roster is so far. You'll have a remastered Ultimate Alliance. Maybe that will be similar to the MMO game they got coming out. Captain Boomerang as a speedster is going to be crazy. It already looks insane. Black Mana, Bloodsport, like there's so much potential for the Suicide Squad game. So unfortunately we're gonna have to probably wait until like like the end of the year to get it, most likely, because I'm thinking Gotham Knights is dropping probably around summer, and they're gonna want to space them apart. But I'm excited. King Shark is yours. Yep, King Shark. I'm looking at Captain Boomerang first, then I'll probably dive into Deadshot, and then I'll look at King Shark. Harley Quinn looks good in terms of gameplay, but I just cannot stand her character model. I think it looks terrible. That's my only critique so far. I'm not a fan of her character model. So hopefully we get some skins early on so we can switch things up, because she does look very fun. Imagine Boomerang's speed is bound to R2 or R trigger, and he has something similar to an intrinsic, so you can zoom around. Ooh, that would be lit. Card games are fun in my opinion. Problem is have much time playing. I have zero problem with card games. I just not in this particular case. And I'm excited to get my hands on that. And I'm excited to get my hands on PlayStation VR. They're finally dropping VR for PS5. And I'm hearing it's going to drop QT, so like April, May, in that time frame. And they've already got a game for it. Horizon Forbidden West, is coming out in February, but they're going to have a Horizon VR game for the new PlayStation VR. I'm excited for that. Should be great. What's my wish list in terms of villains for Avengers? I just want more factions. I want more enemy factions. Ultron is great. I know people are going to be like, another more robots, but Ultron's awesome. I have no problem with that. But they just don't have. Just give us more variety. Give us Hydra and the Red Skull. Give us. They have gravity powers in the game. Why haven't we fought Graviton? That seems like a no-brainer. Give us some more variety. Is Tara Strong voicing Harley? I'm not sure. I have heard that. Wanted to do skins from the animated series. I did that. Really looking forward to Deadshot. Hopefully he gets lots of cool mechanics. Same. Can't wait for Resident Evil 9 in VR. I know exactly why, you pervert. You want a Thanos raid? I wouldn't mind Thanos raid. More, maybe some more enemy factions. The Hand, the Scrolls. Switch it up. Even Inhumans, so far the Inhumans have just been allies, but we know they're bad Inhumans. Why haven't we fought Inhumans yet? Who will be the main villain for Captain Marvel? The Kree is going to be the main enemy faction for Captain Marvel. I don't know what specific villain they're going to bring in for that, but it is going to be the full Kree invasion. So you should expect Kree Sentinels as well to be in there as well. Carnage and Symbiote as villains. No, we don't even need Spider-Man specific villains since, he is PlayStation exclusive. So I'm good with no Spider-Man villains at this point. It's over with. But, just more villains, just using the assets that are in the game. They could do more. And we just haven't, we haven't even gotten Crossbones yet. He's literally in the cafe. He's literally in the game. And they haven't converted him into a villain sector yet. It's crazy. Hope the villain is Ronin. I wouldn't mind that. Need new environments to fight in, places like Asgard. Yeah, Asgard. You already teased Loki. Bring Loki in as a villain. That you teased that a year ago. Where's Loki? Where's that villain sector or OLT? MODOK. They actually planned to do a MODOK villain sector. Miller actually was wondering, what was going on with that, because he leaked in 2020 audio files about them finding a MODOK clone, which they would use, for a villain sector, but they haven't put out a MODOK villain sector yet. New locations. It could be as simple as, Avengers Tower. It's an iconic Marvel location. It's in the game. Why not have some kind of horde mode or assault mission where you have to retake Avengers Tower, and that becomes a new hub, and you have access to a mission, some kind of mission where you can play it over and over again. Avengers assault, Avengers Tower horde mode, that could be a thing. Hell, helicarrier assault on the helicarrier horde mode, that could be a thing. Something, Yeah, the one Marvel location they have is Wakanda. Like we have a raid there, but no villain sectors. Just flip some of the assets that you have, and that could be content. But unfortunately, that's easier said than done because once again, Crystal Dynamics is working on a skeleton crew, and they don't have management and leadership that is capable of making the right decisions and planning ahead. And that's really held a lot of the stuff back to the point where, you know, they'll have something planned and then they'll have to scrap it, and that puts them behind other stuff. It's a mess. Do you think we will get new content this month? No, January is a dry month. They are still on vacation, so don't expect anything this month except skins. Just skins. If you consider content to be skins, then there you go. You've already gotten some content. You're going to be getting some more content, but beyond skins, don't expect anything. Most studios working on Perfect Dark. Yep, they moved a significant part of Crystal Dynamics over to work on Perfect Dark, and I think they also have staff working on the next Tomb Raider game. So not a lot of love left for Avengers. The community is full of great ideas. CD keeps firing at their own foot. I am hearing that they may be potentially taking one community idea in terms of team attacks. Miller was talking about this, I think, on the podcast, on the one-on-one with Doom. He was talking about, you know, stuff like Captain America reflecting the unibeam. You know, those would be something like actual finishing moves, you know, Hawk, you know, throwing Kate Bishop and she teleports, you know, stuff like that, like actual team-based finishing moves. And he said that could be a thing, and it's related to She-Hulk's hero kit. So I'm very curious to see what that would end up being like. They did Wanda Strange. At this point, Wanda Strange should be something else, like another game. If they decide to continue the game past Captain Marvel, then sure, build out a whole big expansion around Wanda and Strange. You know, House of M, that could be dope. Otherwise, Miller was saying, you know, save something like that for a sequel. Cap can already reflect unibeams. No, like actually do it, you know, in terms of like an actual finishing move, not where you have to line up, not where you have to coordinate with your team, you know, shoot the unibeam and then position Captain America in such a way like it would be an actual finishing move, not something that you have to set up beforehand with your teammate. That's what he was talking about. Thor could use his God Blast to supercharge Iron Man's unibeam. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, stuff like that, like an actual ultimate team finishing move type of deal that you can do on different enemies. That's what he was getting at. You see Strange come with Loki. That I don't think so. I think if they do Loki, it'll be to continue the Thor iconic mission. Give the sequel to Insomniac. Insomniac, apparently they're already working on a multiplayer game. I don't know if it's a Marvel game, but they're working on something in addition to Wolverine and Spider-Man 2. Can't wait to see what it is. Feel like if the Kree invasion is successful, they'll greenlight a season 3. It'll depend on the whole year. Like this will be tricky because last year Avengers essentially was basically unopposed. Yeah, because a bunch of games were delayed. So this will be the year. They don't have, you know, a Spider-Man level character coming. So they really gotta, you know, buckle down and figure and get all this really nail this content, because there's a lot of competition this year coming. And if the game does as well or worse than it did last year, then I'm not sure if Square Enix will keep it going. So it is a lot of pressure on them to perform this year. Imagine Thor charging Iron Man suit. Yep. Like have Ant-Man. Well, yeah. Well, not Ant-Man in particular, because you know he's not in the game. But yeah, there just seems to be more time in the skins week after week. See, that's the other thing. Even the design department, you know, is having the same issues. You know, in terms of not having enough people, not having good leadership, because they couldn't even get No Way Home skins into the game in time for the movie launch. But again, I made this point before, but bears repeating because people keep getting this mixed up. The cosmetic department is completely different from the Warzone combat department. Like, they have nothing to do with each other. It is much easier for them to produce cosmetics than it is for them to, you know, produce a villain sector. That's how it's been. The two aren't connected. You know, the cosmetic department having delay has nothing to do with the combat team having a delay. Those are completely separate. So it does feel like, you know, the skins are the priority, because they are in a way, because they've committed to giving away all the DLCs for free. So they have to make sure that people are buying these skins, because that is what is bringing in the revenue, which justifies Square Enix not pulling the plug. But they are completely separate departments, and skins are, again, a lot faster to produce than, you know, like a full biome and mission and everything like that. So just keep that in mind. You may not like the skins, but if they're not putting out skins, if people aren't buying the skins, Square Enix is pulling the plug. So if you like the game, then you're going to have to tolerate the skins, unfortunately. They already have team takedowns with Kate, portal attacks with other heroes. I'm talking about, so they don't. So to clarify again, I'm talking about team combo attacks, iconic combo attacks. They do not have that in the game right now. What you're describing are team takedowns, which you can do on a Dreadbot, and they're just generic. Everybody piles on. I'm talking about like two Avengers combining for like an iconic attack. You know, like Thor throwing his hammer, Captain America catching it and slamming it down on an enemy. That sort of thing. I'm not talking about a team takedown on a Dreadbot. We're talking about completely different things. We're talking about what would be signature iconic combinations that you can do on different enemies. Crystal Dynamics, Square Enix need to onboard. Or you think they should like outsource more? They've been doing some outsourcing, but again, Square Enix, it comes down to Square Enix, because if Square Enix doesn't believe in the game, the reason why they're not getting more support is because Square Enix doesn't fully believe in it. If Square Enix believed in the project more, we would be seeing more support. So maybe they're gearing up for a sequel, but their lack of support means that they're not that confident in the future of this game. Crystal Dynamics do quick patches to fix exploits, but fixing your long balls they're not interested in. Yeah, that's another issue. I'm wondering who was calling the shots there. Maybe it's project leads or management that are telling them to get to these exploits fast. But yeah, it does create a very bad image that they care more about these exploits that benefit the players than bugs that are hurting the players. You have like a super takedown meter, and Thor shoots lightning at Iron Man, supercharges him, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, that would be kind of the idea. Not sure how they would do it, but that's what Miller was talking about, and it would be very cool. Looking forward to see what She-Hulk does. Honestly, can't blame Square for not supporting. Yeah, like there's obviously a lot of issues. Square themselves say they picked the wrong company. From there was a Slight Stars did a video where he basically looked at Glassdoor, which is a site where you can look at where if you worked at a company or you're currently employed at a company, you can basically post a review to give people that might be looking to work there an idea of what it's like to work there. And the theme for people that used to work at Crystal Dynamics and that currently work at Crystal Dynamics is that there are a lot of talented and nice people there. They have a lot of great benefits, but the leadership is a dumpster fire and there needs to be a purge at that level. That was consistent across all the reviews. Great perks, talented people, terrible management, no bad at project planning, time management, all that, which we can tell just by, you know, following the game. And Tony Bing is working on a behind the scenes at Crystal Dynamics video as well that I expect will say the same thing. You have like Ant-Man. I would have liked Ant-Man too. Ant-Man, very cool. He would have been fun, but not in the cards. And I think it has something. I think Marvel Games may have had something to do with this. It's if you look at the heroes that were planned and have been planned, it seems like they had synergy in mind, particularly with Disney Plus. So I think that might have been driving it. You know, because they forced Kamala to be with the original group of Avengers. You know, Kamala has a Disney Plus connection. They made Kate Bishop the first DLC, Hawkeye the second DLC, both of them Disney Plus show. You know, She-Hulk, Disney Plus show, Winter Soldier, Disney Plus show. You know, Captain Marvel is supposed to have a movie with Miss Marvel, with Kamala Khan appearing in it. So there's a lot of Disney Plus, you know, tie-ins happening, which I think influence a lot of the decisions here. Commencing the Crystal Dynamics purge. Yeah, just management. Just waking up. Need them likes up. Hit that like. Thank you, Slip. Welcome. Definitely support the boy Slip Shock TV. Another great voice in the community. Here you go. Hit that exclamation mark Slip. Definitely hit that like button. We're like 7 likes away from 100. So yes, let's get that. Let's get to 100 likes in the next minute, or the 2022 roadmap is permanently delayed. I would not risk it. Everyone would end up throwing Shang-Chi's rings at everything anyway. No, like Shang-Chi is always funny. Miller made this point where people are like, why isn't Shang-Chi in the game? You know, it's like they can only plan for so much. You know, they can't, you know, no one before the movie came out, literally no one was talking about Shang-Chi. Nobody wanted Shang-Chi in this game. And then when he comes out, it's like, okay. So you kind of understand why Marvel Games were like, okay, let's try to tie in these Disney Plus characters to the game. But then that begs the question, if they wanted to have the Disney Plus tie-ins, why didn't they just go all in with it? You know, why not make all the characters Disney Plus related? You know, why not have WandaVision Why not have the Wanda and Vision as DLC characters? Why not have Falcon and Winter Soldier as DLC characters? You know, there's no, because there was a much higher chance of Wanda and Vision taking off than Kate Bishop. Wanda and Vision were already popular characters. You know, no one knew who Kate Bishop was outside of, you know, hardcore comic book fans before her show. Like, why not roll the dice on Scarlet Witch and Vision, put them in the game? They'd be more interesting anyway. You know, so that I don't get. But, you know, maybe if there's life beyond Captain Marvel for this game, maybe they'll go in that direction. You have a shout? Sure, Xander, shout. It is not up to Marvel Games. It is up to Square Enix. Marvel Games obviously impacts, you know, the license and everything like that, but Square Enix is the publisher, so it is their game. They decide whether they are funding the game. They decide whether or not it gets the plug pulled. Shang-Chi would be great as a game. Save it for the future. I can see that, yeah. Scarlet Witch was... I want a Doctor Strange solo game, but, you know, maybe that's just me. Wanda would be difficult due to telekinesis effects. I don't think that would be particularly hard. The one thing that they said they would have trouble putting into this game would be a speedster. Like, people were suggesting, you know, though we saw Wanda in the data files, you know, why not Quicksilver? And they were basically saying that they would know how there are a lot of technical limitations that would prevent them from putting a speedster in the game, which makes sense. The engine is crap and they're already having enough trouble as is, you know, with the combination of the engine and supporting previous gen. So they don't know how to put a speedster in, but from what I could tell, they have no issues with Wanda or Doctor Strange in theory. They just have not been put in the game yet. Where you're like, your Daredevil game might be coming. Skydance Media still hasn't revealed what their game is. It's rumored to be Fantastic Four or Daredevil, but maybe they'll reveal it at E3. That would make a lot of sense. E3 is right around the corner. If the movie itself literally created demand for Shang-Chi, they should cash in on stuff like that. Yeah, so well, in the case of characters, they can't really do much for that. You know, it takes too long to put characters out. They would have to literally find out beforehand, okay, this movie is coming out with this character. Okay, can we find out what that character is going to, you know, what we're going to do with that character? Okay, should we roll the dice? But they've been planning this game since 2015, so wasn't really possible. Isn't Jane a Thor copy? Yeah, the idea of the mystery character is that they were from what Miller was explaining, they wanted to create an Echo character because they didn't have time to make a full-fledged character. So they wanted to make an Echo character to put in before She-Hulk so that there's something else on the content map for us to have. So it would be an Echo character, meaning they would mostly be the same. It would mostly be a copy of that character, but they have enough discarded assets that the character, even though they would mirror a lot of their animations, they would not necessarily, for instance, have the same heroics. Like they have a lot of different heroics and abilities that they scrap and are just sitting around that they could reuse. for an Echo character to make them feel a bit different. So it wouldn't be an exact copy, but it would be mostly the same. Yeah. Her E3 just got canceled. Oh yeah, E3 is, well, yeah, not canceled, but it is in person. It is not going to be in person. Yeah, it is going to be online only because of concerns with the pandemic. I'm not sure when the date is, but E3 is usually around summer. It's Echo, not literally, no, not actually Echo. No, the Echo character is not Echo. Riri just would have worked as an Echo. Yeah, she would have worked as an Echo. In particular, yeah, because there were a lot of there are different Iron Man abilities and things that they didn't end up using for Iron Man that they could have just given to Riri so that she would play a bit different. Spider Parker started a YouTube journey today. Congratulations, Spider Parker. Wish you nothing but the best. Wanda would be easy to add to the game because she'd be a ranged hero and range is king in this game. That is true. Gotta know, how does Riri get her hair down to fit the helmet? From what I've seen, Riri has different hairstyles, but yeah, she could just literally just tie it up. Women with long hair usually just tie it up. Am I running OLT later? Maybe. We're doing we have the members only weekly gaming session coming starting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I don't know how many want to still play Avengers, but yeah, we might do that. I think She-Hulk's definitely for us. I mean, oh yeah, She-Hulk, unless something horrible happened behind the scenes, She-Hulk should be out well before the summer. Yeah, Miller said he'd be surprised if she wasn't out by April. Yeah, like I like the idea of Echo characters, especially if they have assets they can reuse to make them a bit different. I'm just not a fan of the particular Echo characters that they're looking at right now. Do you think with the environments we have in the game, some characters will be an issue with what's already in the game now? Well, not anymore. The only character that was relevant for was Spider-Man, because Spider-Man has very unique traversal with the web swinging, and this game was not designed with web swinging in mind. It has a lot of maps with open areas, but that's not really relevant to any other hero that they're planning. You know, She-Hulk is, She-Hulk, she runs, she jumps, same with Bucky. He's a ground-based character. Captain Marvel can fly. So Spider-Man was the only one that had that problem. Would Hawk's Echo character be Red Hawk or Thing? It would be, from what I heard, it would be Doc Samson, if anything. Caps could be Sam. Yep, comic Sam. Like Simon, Richter, Belma are pretty much perfect Echo characters in Smash Ultimate. Yeah. Why do you all keep trusting this Miller guy? Because he's right so often. Where have you been? Why do you keep trusting this guy who keeps giving you accurate information? I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you trust a guy that keeps giving you correct information? It's stupid. You obviously would trust someone that doesn't give you accurate information, like the mainstream media. Like, why would you trust a guy who's actually right? She-Hulk better have a wrestling, grappling, kickboxer. Yeah, Miller's been tight-lipped about her moveset, but he did say it will be very different from the Hulk. Fake news voice. You're trying to find a spot to farm targeted buff. It's not targeted buff cannot be targeted farmed. There's no targeted farming for that perk. It is a random drop. Jane, Yelena, John Walker, Tiger, Red Hawk, Shuri, give me content, you're fine. Like her to have a better jump. I hope she has a better jump. It definitely would. Do we know? Do we? No. Does Doom? Does Miller? Does me? Yes. I know Hawk mains would definitely be mad if She-Hulk comes in with a better traversal than Hawk and they don't give Hawk an update at the same time. And I would not blame them. Don't trust Miller, trust me. All the characters you guys want are coming next. So it's just trust me. And if I'm wrong, yeah, whatever. Spider Parker, it is, since you're a new content creator, I'll give you this advice. It is considered bad form to go into the stream of another content creator and ask them to react to your content. It's fine to, announce that it's fine to talk about, you're a content creator. That's all good. But in general, do not promote your content during the content of somebody else. Yeah. Just be cool, show up, be supportive, and keep making content, keep doing your thing, ask for advice, and the support will come. Just look at Doom Killer HD. He's known as the guy that's in everybody's stream. He just comes in, no matter who it is, big creators, small creators, he's always running around, lurking, hopping in, saying what's up, showing love, show support. Be that person, and the community will respond. As I promote Slip Shock, I promote Casual Avenger, J Shock Blast, I promote all sorts of people in my stream on my own, Doom Killer HD, because they're good guys and they make, not only do they make good content, but they're great people and they support the community without asking for anything in return. So just do that, just show up, and people will take notice and promote you on their own. Miller's probably, yeah, like I said, August Spider Parker, just give you that advice because you are new to content creation and you probably didn't know. So just letting you know that. Miller is probably not excited about the Echo character because it would be a very probably, yeah. So Miller said that the reason why he wasn't excited for the Echo character is because, one, putting it before She-Hulk, he thought it would give people the impression that She-Hulk was just going to be a copy of the Hulk, which is not true. And he also thought that the choice that they made for the Echo character could have been way more interesting. Like when people were guessing who the mystery character was going to be, he was saying like a bunch of people's guesses were way better and interesting than the actual mystery character. So all of that is a part of it. Do I promote Avengers hater? No, I do not believe in his redemption arc. I reject it outright. You wouldn't mind a new Deadpool game? I definitely wouldn't. Definitely need some next gen Deadpool. Seahawks TV show gonna be good. We'll see. In theory, it sounds like it could be good, but I'm not making a mistake with Disney Plus shows anymore. So once She-Hulk, once the cast information becomes available, I'm going to check and see who's writing the show and what credits that they have before. And that'll tell me how good the show is going to be, because Hawkeye was a bad show and the writers didn't have pretty much any credits. So so if I knew that going in, I would have been like, okay, well, this show's probably not going to be that good. So I'm going to check and see who's making it. So if whoever's making it, they have a bunch of, unknowns, people who have no credits, then I'm lowering my expectations a lot. So far, devs have done a good job making each character unique. They have, but for an Echo character, they can still do that. But I mean, if it's like, I'm not sure if it's Yelena. I'm not sure. Hypothetically, if it were Yelena, I'm not sure how they can make that unique, because she's literally Black Widow with a different head, and I don't know what assets they have lying around that could even make her moves different. But we'll see. My favorite Disney Plus show, What If and Loki were my favorites by far. WandaVision would have been my favorite if the ending, if they had held on tight, for the second half. Like the last half of WandaVision completely fell off. But What If was overall pretty strong, even though it had some episodes thrown in there. It ended up really strong. Loki had a lot of the problems that have been plaguing the MCU in Phase 4, but still ended up being pretty decent. Florence Poe, yeah, I like Florence, but yeah, her and she's obviously very beautiful, very charismatic, but yeah, Hawkeye was just a bad show. It was just a bad show. What If season 2 is also good? I agree. Think Monica will work perfect. Let's take some Iron Man Thor's combat low key. Yeah, sure. Monica Rambeau. It would make sense, Jane, as they can't really explain her having a second hammer. Time travel, multiverse, they can figure something out. Kingpin got nerfed character-wise. Yeah, Kingpin definitely felt like they forced him in there for clicks. So I think they're going to do the Infinity Stone storyline. No. But so stuff like that would be like beyond, like a season 3 Avengers thing, potentially, if it gets that far. Captain Marvel is the season finale, and that storyline is based around the Kree and time travel, not the Infinity Stone. So if Captain Marvel, if they decide they'll continue the game after Captain Marvel, then they can explore all different ways to take the story. But for now, the story goes straight through the Kree invasion, and that's the finale. Loki was terrible for fan bases, and 75% of the show. I definitely see all the problems with Loki. I thought I thought despite the many problems with Loki, the visuals, the production design, and the story was still very good. The characters there was some very great performances. It could have been great, but obviously it was held back by a lot of not just bad writing, but just choices that I knew were influenced more so by politics rather than by actual story direction. What does Square Enix has? Square Enix has a multi-game deal for Marvel games. The first was Marvel's Avengers. The second they released was Guardians of the Galaxy, and then they can do a third one. Some are speculating it could be X-Men. Thought the best show as far as Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah. Well, I was not a fan of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Once again, it had some potential, had some great production value, but the writing once again was pretty unbearable at times. It got really preachy, and the villains were underwhelming. It was kind of a mess. Wasn't a fan. Jane coming from the future, getting stuck in the base and going back to Asgard. How she can get back to the future, having no other choice. Yeah, like they could. Yeah, it's comics. They can make anything work. They can make it work. You Remain stuff was good. Put the characters in this graphs. Yeah, I was all for it. I'm a big Jonathan Majors fan, so I was all about it. Yeah, the Power Broker, the Flag Smashers, it didn't really work for me, and I was not a fan of Sam Wilson's preachiness. They really were trying bitch art with that. Yeah, Do Better, Senator was still is up there as probably definitely a top 3 worst things ever said in the MCU. Buggy got a huge nerf in the show. Is there any other news about the game? Nothing. Just what I went over. Just the only new stuff was about I went over the leaks from Miller, the stuff from Miller. The only news that I went over was about the patch, the exploits. But in terms of Avengers official news, once again, they are still on vacation. So don't expect them to give out any information until they all come back and are ready to go into the new roadmap. The preaching felt so forced, as preaching often does. Like I said, you can have morals, you can have political intrigue and messaging in shows, but it needs to be subtle, and it can't come at the expense of the plot. And these writers don't seem to be able to figure that out. What's up, B Waters? Weak. Loki got big power-ups in the show. False. Loki was massively nerfed. The one of Tom Hiddleston's Loki. The Loki, Sylvie, female Loki, was quite powerful. One of his alts, the old Loki, he had a nice little moment before he died. But yeah, Tom Hiddleston's Loki was massively nerfed in that show and was treated like a punching bag through a lot of it, which definitely threw me off. What's up, Carson? No worries. Whenever you can stop by the stream, I appreciate it. I understand life happens, but always glad to see new and familiar faces. I mean, they literally had an entire sequence where Loki is just repeatedly getting kicked in the balls. Like come on. it was getting it got really over the top. Loki wasn't even, it was literally, it was a Sylvie origin story. What it was, that was part of the problem. They promoted it as a Loki show, a Tom Hiddleston Loki show, and they bait and switched you, and what they actually gave you was a female Loki origin story. You know, instead of it being about Loki, Tom Hiddleston and his adventures after the events of Endgame and getting the Tesseract and beamed out of there. Instead, it was an origin story about Sylvie and how she got swept up in the TVA as a young girl, was able to escape somehow, and went on the run and has been waging war against them ever since. And how her vendetta for revenge against the TVA ends up threatening the entire multiverse. That's the actual story. And along the way, she's joined by her sidekick Loki from a different universe where he took on the Avengers and lost, and was transported out of his timeline and scooped up by the TVA. That's the real summary of the Loki show, which is not what we were sold. Don't forget Gator look, of course. Loki ruined I Need a Hero. So he's pretty much female Doctor Who. Did you like Kate and Echo, or how they were portrayed in Hawkeye or everything? Oh, it was a bit. No, I thought Kate was fine. I didn't like how she was portrayed. I thought Haley did a decent job in the role. I did not think it was well made. The show was poorly written, poorly edited, and had pretty awful music. And I thought Echo was in the comics, Echo seems, okay, pretty decent. In the show, they did not do her any favors. I thought she was a terrible character. They did an awful job bringing her in. I don't think she should have been in the show at all. Especially if they were planning on giving her I don't know why they're giving her a solo show to begin with, but if they were going to do that, I don't think they should have used the Kate Bishop show to jump off into her solo show in the future, especially with the way they did it. They basically made it a Echo and Kate Bishop origin story within what was supposed to be a Hawkeye show. I was not a fan. I was not a fan of the character and how it was portrayed. She's great at comics, man. Show. Yeah, same with Kazi. Kazi, another character. He was, well known in the comics for during that My Life Was a Weapon run. Very menacing, very intimidating character in the comics, but in the show, he's basically Echo's butler. When I did the reviews of Hawkeye with Doom, I called Kazi Echo's manservant, because that's literally what he was. They took this badass, intimidating character from the comics and just turned him into Echo's simp. He was literally just there to carry her purse and translate for her, for people that didn't know ASL. That's literally all that was literally his job. Kazi was Alfred. He was worse than Alfred. Like at least Alfred stands up to Batman sometimes. like they could have had a really interesting twist at the end if they had like Kazi be like kind of the man behind everything instead of Kingpin, and like he was pretending to to be like that, but no, they just made him a punk. Daredevil will not be Echo. Well, we'll see. I hope Daredevil's not an Echo. It would have been good, Daredevil and Echo are connected in the comics. That could have been good, but the way they've made Echo is already off to a bad start for me. What's up, Zacer Gaming? It was Kazi origin story. Not at all. Kazi's story was pretty straightforward. He took karate with Echo since she was a kid. He became her manservant. He took orders from the Kingpin to undermine her. He loved her, and she killed him. The end. Disney better not ruin Daredevil. I mean, there's a decent chance they are. Let's hope not. But they tried their best to ruin Kingpin, so they can do that. They can ruin Daredevil. Tracksuit Mafia were the worst parts of the show. Definitely one of the worst parts of the show. I thought the LARPers were the worst part of the show. The LARPers were just a complete waste of space. There was no payoff. The one thing they were supposed to do, introduce, Hawkeye and Kate's new promotional material, aka costumes, I thought was a flop because I thought the costumes were bad that they ended up making. It was a complete waste. They weren't funny. It was bad. Like it was completely unnecessary. Kingpin is definitely not dead. I know that, but them shoving him into that episode to make him a final boss it just didn't work. Especially that ridiculous fight he had with Kate Bishop. Like he doesn't fight Hawkeye. He doesn't encounter Hawkeye at all. Instead, Hawkeye goes and has a cry off with Yelena, and then Kate Bishop is left to fight Kingpin, and that fight was just so bad. It was so terrible. I broke down on Doom Show, but it made no sense. Like the Kingpin fight was not fine. It was awful. It was awful. Come on. So Kate Bishop, Kate Bishop, immediately sees that her arrows are useless against him, and then her mom. This is how bad the editing was. When Kate first approaches Hawkeye, when Kate first approaches Kingpin, he's trying to get her mom out of the back seat of her car, and then Kate interrupts him with her arrows, which do nothing. And then literally in the next scene, somehow the car that Kingpin was just next to disappears and teleports to a whole different part of the street just so her mom can run over Kingpin with the car and put him through the window. And then he just pops up immediately like nothing happened, and then starts throwing Kate around the room instead of literally just breaking her neck like he could have done immediately. And then they end up having Kate combine all of the arrows, that's all her trick arrows, and blow him up. And it still did, which should have killed him, but that didn't do that either. He just limps away with his suit dirty. and then he gets shot. I was like, what are we doing here, bro? Like, what is this garbage? What is this absolute garbage? Daredevil established that Kingpin is powerful, but not superhuman. Not super, like over the top. Like they made a more grounded version of Kingpin, whereas Disney decided to do a more comic version of Kingpin where he is just blatantly superhuman, but they didn't have an explanation for it. He was just, literally, he's just way more stronger than what he was in the Daredevil show, but also somehow not capable of killing a 20-year-old girl. Like, it was awful. Netflix is definitely not. Netflix definitely has I can't say Netflix has a totally higher standard. Look no further than Iron Fist. Netflix does not always succeed. but Disney Plus is basically the CW with a better budget. That's essentially what we've gotten from the Disney Plus lineup so far. I'm hoping it gets better in the future, but so far, a lot of misses. In my opinion. Iron Fist, or like Iron Fist. But can't take away Netflix for Daredevil season 1, one of the best seasons of televisions ever, but they definitely have some misses. I love Jessica Jones. Luke Cage season 1 was great. Defenders, not so much. Chris, what you miss? Everything. We just went over all of the Miller and Doomkiller HD interview. There's a summary right here on the subreddit. You can read what you can read right here. If you go on the Play Avengers subreddit, they've got someone broke down the summary with the main points. You can also watch it on Doomkiller HD's channel if you want to see the full interview, and you can also just replay the VOD of this stream. But we had a good time. Matrix, yes, your comments are visible. You personally haven't had any problem with any Disney Plus series? Well, there you go. Some people love all of them. Others did not. And I definitely did not. Definitely had my problems with a lot of them. Punisher was the best show Netflix put out. I think Daredevil was overall better, but Punisher was pretty good. Sadot is a tough critic. You would love to see a show or game with his writing. It would be interesting. I'm not even a tough critic though. That's the funny thing. I'm not actually a tough critic. I love trash TV as much as the next guy. I think the problem is not that I'm a tough critic. It's just that people's standards are really low and have gotten really low in this streaming era, especially when it comes to Marvel. Like that Marvel IP, I think the Infinity Saga has created so much brand loyalty that people have been willing to overlook pretty low quality content because they love the IP and the overall brand and everything like that. Nothing can be worse than CW. Yeah, because I, as much as I trash the CW, I do watch the CW. I watch CW shows. I mean, I stopped watching some when they got too bad, like Supergirl. I bailed in season 6. I didn't even finish it. It was literally unwatchable. But yeah, it's not because I'm a tough critic. Like I watched all of Arrow. Even when Arrow got bad, I still finished Arrow. I'm still current on The Flash. Even though the new season had started off really good with the whole Armageddon arc, but the previous season was awful. So I'm not a super harsh critic, but I do have standards, and as someone that does have writing experience, I can look at and analyze a show or movie, objectively and say, oh, these things aren't right, or this is how it should be, because I understand the basics and fundamentals of the writing process. What's up, Deeper Depths? How you doing, my friend? Another Avengers content creator. Definitely check him out. What are my thoughts on Falcon and Winter Soldier? It was an enjoyable show. It had very good production value. Bucky and Sam had great chemistry, but I think it suffered from the writing. I thought the Flag Smashers weren't really well utilized and didn't really work as villains. There was too many conflicts in that regard. You had the Flag Smashers here that were supposed to be a threat, but then you also had this whole thing with Zemo, who was more interesting. Then you had this whole deal with the power broker. I thought that the Flag Smashers didn't really fit in with all that. And then on top of that, you had this, you had them really going over the top, preaching, this BLM narrative that, really got cringe, like when all those police officers just so happened to be waiting for Bucky and Sam, and none of them recognize a freaking Avenger or the previously most wanted man in the entire world. We had to pretend like that was realistic, just so they can have a moment to teach us about police brutality and harassment. Like, come on. And then, of course, Sam's awful speech at the end. Black history is cringe. Don't do that. Don't be an idiot. Don't be an idiot. Don't do that. No one said Black history was cringe. First of all, super soldiers aren't real, so it's not Black history. Second of all, from literally listening to what I was saying, my problem was with force feeding stuff. Force feeding their messaging in the most cringe manner. And particularly, I cited Sam Wilson's speech where he literally says, do better, Senator. And then when he's even asked by the senator, like what? Like specifically, what could I do better? Could we do better? And he literally doesn't know. He's like, I don't know, something. That's just lazy. That's lazy writing. And the whole police officers getting stopped by the whole police officers stopping Sam and Bucky and not recognizing Sam. That was cringe. What Black issues did he speak about? It's a superhero show. What are you talking about, bro? Sam's speech was so generic and cringe. It wasn't about Black issues. What real Black issues? The issue of systemic super soldier oppression. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like people are aware. People are aware that America has a very bad history of racism. There are ways you can portray it in a show without being cringe, like they were. Like in the comics, Sam Wilson was hesitant about taking up the mantle of Captain America because he's not a super soldier, and Steve Rogers paints such a huge shadow. So he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to live up to the history of Steve Rogers. But in the show, they tried to make it like Sam Wilson's hesitation of being Captain America was somehow questioning not only America as a country and its treatment of Black people, but also the idea of Steve Rogers potentially being bad because he's white. Like it was nonsense. Sam Wilson is a patriot. He's always been a patriot. He served in the military. His family served. He has no issue with representing the United States of America. So shoehorning this subplot in about him not wanting to take up the shield because of systemic racism was stupid and obviously was forced so that Disney could say, "Hey, look, we're allies, guys. We're in the news. We're trendy. We're what's up. We put BLM in our social media profiles. We're woke. Like, come on, bro. Ever heard of the Tuskegee experiments? Yes, many people have heard of the Tuskegee experiments. It's pretty well known history. It's not, but you know what the Tuskegee experiments weren't? They were not a super soldier program. The Tuskegee experiments was the government conducting experiments by injecting black people with syphilis. They also, but the government did experiments on everybody as well. They did mind control experiments with Operation MK Ultra by force feeding people with psychedelic drugs and torturing them and subjecting them to all sorts of things. The government did a lot of weird stuff back then. Awful human rights violations. What does that have to do with super soldiers? What are you talking about, bro? You've lost the plot. You've lost the plot, bro. What's up, Trix? What did you tune into? I was reviewing. Someone asked me to review Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and some idiot chimed in that I was calling Black History cringe because I pointed out that some of the social justice messaging in Falcon and Winter Soldier was over the top. But now because this guy Googled the Tuskegee experiments, he thinks he's an expert on Black history, bro. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, come on, bro. Don't lecture me about Black history. You're going to lose. I merely was just talking about how the show is bad and did not handle the social justice messaging well. Not that there's a problem with putting Black history all together. That's stupid. That's not what I said. He's not trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do, because now he's completely lost the argument. So now he's trying to talk about bring up, I don't know what point he's trying making. Like I literally, he brought up the Tuskegee experiments like no one, like that's not like one of the most well-known atrocities in American history. like bro, yes, I too know how to use Wikipedia, my guy. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like at least bring up, like if you're gonna do a deep cut for atrocities for Black history, at least do something like the destruction of Black Wall Street or the move bombings. You know, something that literally everyone hasn't heard of before. Like at least something that's at least a little bit of a deep cut. like come on, bro. Isaiah Bradley was tested for super soldier serum before Steve in series like Watchmen. Yeah, like Watchmen. I like Watchmen. I thought Watchmen was a good show, and I like that it brought attention to a moment in Black history that many people did not know because it was not taught in schools. He's fiercely looking him up now to act like he knows them. Of course he is. But he's desperately talking about like, oh, let me look through Wikipedia. Let me find something. I'm gonna get him. Did he get bad? No, I let him stew in his own idiocy. I decided to let him. I decided to give him plenty of rope to hang himself with. He has left. Bro, definitely needs to watch Hotel Rwanda. Oh, that's a great show. Aqua time banned him. See, I didn't have to do anything. He's punching the air right now. Steve is already active and they wanted to redo the success of Syrup. Yeah. Watching the movie was good. The show was interesting. Yeah, the graphic novel was good. I actually liked how the movie changed up the ending a little bit from the graphic novel, but the show went in a very different direction. And some people, it wasn't for everybody, but I actually enjoyed it. Aqua has less patience for idiots than I do. I'll engage to see if someone has like actually something intelligent to add. Aqua has no patience. Aqua does not want to deal with stupidity. You can have an opinion. I didn't. Aqua did it. I'm just chilling. I was just chilling. Your opinion is not that you had an opinion, because as you can see, all sorts of people have opinions in this chat. Aqua timed you out because you were being an idiot. Now, if you want to not be an idiot, you're more than welcome to be here, and no one is going to bother you. But if you're going to continue to be an idiot, then Aqua's probably going to keep timing you out. I'm just warning you right now. Like if you have a problem, like if you disagree with my take on Falcon and Winter Soldier, then what you can do is just explain why, what specifically you thought was good and why you thought my critique was wrong. Your problem was that you immediately jumped to a straw man argument, which was so the reason why I'm calling you an idiot is because you were being an idiot. Like I very clearly said that I had these specific problems with Falcon and Winter Soldier, and you took it to mean that I somehow don't like Black history. So yes, saying that I think Black history in general is cringe because I thought the writing in Falcon and Winter Soldier was bad makes you a stupid person. Yes, there's no way to sugarcoat that. That makes you a stupid person. And the fact that you doubled and tripled down on it confirms that you're a stupid person. Now, if you want to walk that back and have a real discussion about Falcon and Winter Soldier, that's fine. But if you're just going to pretend like I don't care about Black history because I thought the writing was cringe in some areas, then yeah, we're not going to have a real conversation because you're just being stupid. You're connecting Bradley's super soldier story, the suppressed super soldier story, to Tuskegee and to the Tuskegee experiments, and I'm saying my problem with the show was that it was cringe in some areas and had, with the social justice stuff, it has some very bad writing. Specifically, I named Sam's speech and the scene where the police stop Bucky and Sam. I have the Isaiah story is, whatever. My problem with the Isaiah portion isn't the portrayal of just having it does bring up another issue, which is that somehow literally everybody is coming up with this super soldier serum somehow. like the super soldier serum was introduced as this is this one-off thing that no one can replicate. It's the super soldier serum. It's so special No one can do it again. And literally everyone has it. Right after Cap was supposed to be the only. He's unique. No one else can replicate this serum, except apparently these guys. Except this one guy. He just figured it out somehow, and we got a bunch of flag smashers now running around. Oh, and the government figured it out, and they gave it to black soldiers, and when they produced a successful super soldier out of it, they decided to keep him under wraps because racism. That was pretty goofy, but I didn't have a problem with Isaiah. I had a problem with them trying to retcon Sam Wilson as somehow not being patriotic, when his main issue with taking on the mantle of Captain America was that he didn't think he was worthy of the shield, not because he had a problem with America. Like I thought it was goofy. I thought that was goofy. The point was that there was a black Captain America, but the government jailed him and put him away. Yeah, but my point is that has literally nothing to do with what I was saying. I don't care. Like that wasn't my issue with the show. I'm well aware that they were trying to insert Black history into Falcon and Winter Soldier. They were not very subtle about it. Yes, we're aware. That's what your point is silly. I'm aware. My point was that some of the writing was over the top, and your argument now is that Black history exists in the show. Like, yes, we know Black history exists. Like, come on. John Walker looked goofy in the cap suit. Yes, he did. John Walker did look goofy. Super Soldier's serum been duplicated. It was in Civil War. Yeah, like everyone has this. Everyone has this serum, bro. Everyone's getting this serum. Everyone's got that serum. Bucky, Cap got the serum. Bucky got the serum. The Flag Smashers got the serum. Isaiah got the serum. Everybody's getting serum. John got the serum. Can't wait to the argument over the Superman abuse and the super females at Marvel Weekend. Oh God. Please acting like they don't know Falcon was just funny. It was like, that was my main thing. Like him, like somehow all those police officers are there and none of them recognize Falcon or the Winter Soldier. Like, come on. I thought that was cringe, but because I thought that was forced, that somehow means I don't care about Black history. Like, that guy's an idiot. Crossbone's trying to steal the serum. And I thought, yeah, John Walker, they threw in a John Walker origin story. I thought his origin story was actually pretty decent. I thought they did it well. I thought it did it well how they established John Walker as this awkward replacement for Captain America because Sam didn't want to take up the mantle. And then we saw his fall from grace. I thought they handled that pretty decently. And the guy called, oh yeah, he said, "You're Black Falcon," and he was like, I'm just Falcon. Like, yeah, like, Sam made it clear throughout the whole, like that was Sam's thing. Like, yeah, I'm just a Falcon. I'm not Black Falcon. I'm just a Falcon. He didn't want to make everything about race, which I could respect. I also thought that the idea that the government would not utilize a Black super soldier just because even despite the fact that they lost, Captain America, the fact that they wouldn't utilize him just because he was Black was also pretty goofy. was also pretty goofy, but I understand they were trying to make a point. But I thought it was goofy considering, again, this super soldier rare serum is supposed to be so rare. Like, you get a successful super soldier and just like, nah, he's black. Like you know damn well the government would have used him as a weapon and executed him if he didn't go along with it. That's how the government works in the real world. And Avengers Assemble animated show, Falcon was pretty cool. He was pretty cool in the MCU as well. I like Falcon. I like Falcon more than Captain America, than being just him being Captain America. I would have preferred if he just stayed Falcon, but I still like the character. So glad he's still in the MCU. The suit does look clean for sure. It definitely does look clean. I cannot take that away. Do I live in New York? I do not. You know, throughout the show, they were trying to push the race thing on you. The only time it worked was when Sam found out about Isaiah's grandpa. Exactly, which is totally understandable. But, and yeah, they're like if they limited the scope, I thought that would have been fine. And the ending ended up being good. You know, Falcon did right by Isaiah, got him the recognition that he deserved. So I thought that ended pretty well. But along the way, there was just some real cringe, you know. That police stop scene, them getting stopped by the cops, was so forced. It was so forced. You saw it a mile away. It was like, I knew what they were building up to before it happened. I was like, oh no, they're not going to do this. Oh no, it was so bad. Falcon as a character is great, but I don't want him being Captain America. You want him to find his own identity. Yeah, that's the thing. Like as a black man, I like the idea of more representation in my superhero media. I grew up, when I grew up, there weren't that many. You know, when I was a kid, we had Meteor Man, we had Blank Man, you know, you had Blade, you had Wesley Snipes' Blade. We didn't have a lot of options, you know. You know, we had Shaquille O'Neal, Shazam, and Steel. there weren't that many options. So, you know, to see, so I was really proud to see, you know, Black Panther come to life on the big screen. It was, you know, I love all of that. You know, I loved Raising Dion on Netflix. I love that we're in an era where superheroes aren't just straight white men. I think that's cool. My problem consistently with that, you know, Static Shock, animated Static Shock. Yeah, my problem has always been when, and we're seeing this pop up more now, instead of introducing interesting, you know, black characters, you know, just interesting characters that happen to be black or happen to be a woman or whatever, they make that their entire character, you know, instead of, or they'll do this mantle thing where instead of Static Shock, you know, an original character, well designed, great backstory, great power set, instead of something like that, they'll just take an established white character and slap a black face on it and call it a day. I think that's lazy. I think that's lazy and does a disservice to the push for diversity, because it makes it look like you're only trying to get these characters out there so you can get the headline on Twitter. Hey, look what we just did, instead of just telling an interesting character, instead of just making interesting characters that just happen to be diverse. That's been my consistent issue with that. Michael B. Jordan say he directed the Static Shock movie. I would definitely watch that. I enjoyed Raising Dion. That was his show on Netflix. His company produced it, and he had a role in it. I thought that was pretty neat. Yeah. Hancock was hilarious. It was. Hancock was hilarious. Yeah, like I was saying, yeah, don't, instead of just, saying, hey, Captain America, but black, or, Wolverine, but a woman, just take the extra step to come up with an original character. Start with that first. When you're making a new character, you're supposed to start with who the character is. What is their motivation? If it's a superhero, what are their powers? How did they get their powers? What's their motivation? What's the primary antagonist? What's their personality like? And instead, what they seem to be doing is, okay, which demographic can we pander to today? Okay, like the prime example, there was a comic run with Vixen where she ended up dating I think she's gay. She was dating someone that's gay and disabled, and the creator is gay and disabled. And when she put out the book, it didn't get the reception she was hoping for, and she literally started complaining on Twitter, like, where are the headlines? Where are the headlines about Vixen dating this gay disabled woman? And it made it clear, oh, that's literally just what you were doing. You just wanted the headlines. You didn't want to tell an interesting story. You just wanted the headlines. You just wanted to make a headline for internet points, instead of just telling an interesting story about these characters. Black Batman, Luke Fox. Yep. Luke Fox. Like, it's simple. Put out characters, women, people of color, all that stuff, but make the priority telling a good story rather than just getting diversity points on Twitter. Like Arcane League of Legends is a great example. That show is incredibly diverse. It has representation all over the place in Arcane League of Legends. It's got women, it's got powerful women, it's got black folks, it's got queer folks. Everybody is represented. It's got different species. Everybody is represented in Arcane League of Legends. And it's just a really good show, because that's not the focus. X-Men were based off Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Yes, but you know what they didn't do? They didn't force feed it down your throats. We understood the subtlety of the allegory that they were trying to tell between the conflict of Xavier's X-Men and Magneto. We understood without them literally forcing it down our throats that, yeah, hey guys, by the way, Xavier's Martin Luther King. Hey guys, retweet and like Magneto's Malcolm X. Like, yes, we know. Literally everyone knows. But they were good stories because they didn't lead with that. We understood that the plight of the mutants was an allegory for the civil rights movement, but they didn't have to remind us or tell us that they were talking about black rights the entire time, because they had respect for the audience. They assumed that the audience could read between the lines and understand what they were saying. And they told good stories, and it did well. Yeah, Unfitted is just committed to embarrassing himself. So yeah, there's really no point. What's up, Peter Odin? How you doing, my friend? Is literally pandering. Yeah, like you can tell good stories without pandering. Like the X-Men ended up being incredibly popular and successful, and they didn't have to stop. They didn't stop telling. I don't even know what his point was. They didn't stop the civil rights allegory. They still told the story of the mutants and the Brotherhood, but they got popular. They got the X-Men animated series. They got the movies. They kept putting out books. Like, they were successful without having to pander. Like, I don't understand. Like he's mad that he was proven wrong, and he just can't let it go. Disney will always Disney will always do what makes Disney money. As soon as Disney thinks that this whole social justice stuff isn't cashing in, which they are starting to realize, they're going to pivot, because Disney, they don't really care. You know, Disney is the same company that shouted out the Chinese government in a region where they're literally holding people in concentration camps when they film Mulan. So it's not like, you know, Disney's the same company that literally will edit out a gay kiss in their Star Wars movie so that they can promote it to overseas audiences. They don't care about any of this stuff. They're a corporation. They just want to make money. They don't care about social justice. They don't care about race and gender and anything. They're just trying to make money. And the reason why they're doing it is because they think this is a thing that is going to make them money. That's all it is at the end of the day. So don't be fooled by these corporations. They don't care. As soon as social justice stops making them money, they're going to ditch it. Avengers hater, get out of here, Avengers hater. You'll live it when they made Taskmaster a girl. It was, and it's not just that they made Taskmaster a female. It was the fact that they gave Taskmaster the X-Men origin Deadpool treatment. You know, they didn't just make Taskmaster female. They made Taskmaster just basically a robot that doesn't speak. So like, it was dumb, and the origin didn't even make sense. Like, there's no way that little girl survived that explosion. Peter, love what you got going. I appreciate you, brother. Definitely go support the homie Peter Odin. Another great content creator. Mr. Clean Kids, you missed so much. He's so much. Definitely. This is definitely one where you're gonna watch the VOD because we definitely going off the rails. But the first part was about the interview. I just left it up here. The breakdown between Miller did an interview with Doomkiller HD, and you see I just left the post up here, so you can see all the points that were summarized. You missed the tragic story of Infinite. Yeah, yes, this tragic story of someone who just couldn't get out of their own way. Who have been found taskmaster being a girl, but keep the origin and powers the same. Exactly. Like it was just like they wasted Taskmaster. Like that's why I brought up X-Men Origin Wolverine. That's essentially what it is. Died of being a troglodyte idiot. Do I think they should scrap the whole Black Panther cast and start over? Oh, absolutely not. I mean, it's definitely way too late for that, but I don't think it's necessary. I don't know what direction they're going to go. I don't know if they could either make, I don't know if they're going to make Shuri the new Black Panther. I mean, that seems like likely, or they can recast him, or they can use the whole multiversal thing and just put Killmonger as the new Black Panther. There are a lot of ways to do it. They don't need to scrap the whole movie. What's the news? Just check what I have on screen. It's that's the main thing we were talking about in the beginning, at least. The breakdown. Miller did an interview with Doomkiller HD. These are the main points that were talked about. I just went over all that. You can check out the VOD. Recast T'Challa. Yeah, I have no issue with them recasting T'Challa. I love Chadwick, but I mean, at the end of the day, he would have wanted it. He would have wanted to continue, and there's no point in removing T'Challa from the MCU. T'Challa is a character that meant a lot to a lot of people. I don't see why, you just get rid of, you just don't portray the character at all. People love Christopher Reeves as Superman, but they didn't stop making Superman movies when he had his accident, and they shouldn't have. Like Heath Ledger, in my opinion, was the best Joker of all time, but they didn't stop portraying the Joker after he passed. You move on. Ronda Rousey can try to act as Ronda Rousey, still wouldn't be good. Acting is definitely not a strong boot. That how a mystery character that my girl Captain Marvel will have confirmation. What? The mystery character is separate from Captain Marvel, but Captain Marvel is coming to Avengers. Removing T'Challa is definitely a service. I know a lot of people, were thrilled to have, just really cool black superhero to look up to. A lot of people love T'Challa from the comics. A lot of people who are into the MCU loved having suddenly this portrayal of this, for once, positive portrayal of Africa in the media via T'Challa. Instead of just seeing Africa in movies and TV as just this war-torn, poverty-filled place, we got to see Wakanda as this place with kings and queens and technology. It was very, very cool. People loved it, and they should keep it going. You heard Letitia Wright got fired, so there seems to be a lot of weird information going on about that. There were people saying she was getting fired, she was getting replaced. As far as I know, none of that is true. She had a couple accidents on set and it delayed shooting. There were rumors that she was refusing to get the vax. That's why they were having delays on set, and they used an injury as an excuse. I don't know what the truth is, but as far as I know, Letitia Wright is still Shuri and is still in the movie. When do we get the mystery? Soon. Maybe. Maybe March. What do I think about the upcoming movie, the Marvels? You mean Captain Marvel 2, that they didn't want to call Captain Marvel 2 because people didn't like Captain Marvel? It has a high chance of cringe. I'll say that. From what I understand, the Marvels is supposed to be a team up kind of movie. It's going to have Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, who's got powers now, and Kamala Khan. It's going to depend entirely on who's writing it. That's what it's going to come down to. Who's writing it, that's going to determine how good it's going to be. If the writers are good, it'll be fine. If the writers are not good, it's going to be a disaster. This child is going to need Casper Cole. They could literally just do Killmonger and just make it like a what if thing, because they're already bringing out Supreme Strange, and I'm hearing they're also going to do Captain Carter. So why not do Killmonger as the new Black Panther? I'd be down to see Michael be back. I thought he'd be pretty good as a reformed Black Panther. Not looking forward to MCU Kamala. Yeah, I am concerned. I'm hearing like the producers didn't like her performance. There were issues with the writing. So I'm iffy on that one. I like Kamala, just fine as a character, but I am nervous about that show. There's a reason it's been delayed for so long. The change to Kamala's powers is a huge turnoff. Yeah, they definitely didn't they make her powers, they're making it like kind of magic based around the bracelets, instead of an Inhuman storyline. Yeah, they're trying to get as far away from the Inhuman thing as possible. She's not a human, she's not a mutant. It's just magic. MCU Kamala will give us an MCU skin for her in the game. That's the thing though. I saw the MCU Kamala, I saw the design for her show skin. It looks just like skin she has in game. Like, it doesn't look like it will be enough of a difference to warrant even an MCU skin. It definitely doesn't look as good as what's in the game already. Have redemption arc for Killmonger. Exactly. Power seem to move more like Green Lantern. Yeah. Which is, I'm pretty iffy on this show. I'm probably going to review it with a Doom Killer. We've been reviewing all the Disney Plus shows, but yeah, I don't know about that one. I'm iffy on that one. Heard you can't wait for America Chavez. I have no problem. I have no problem with America Chavez being in the MCU. I pitched an idea of a game, a Young Avengers game based around America Chavez. Once again, it all comes down to the writers. America Chavez is a interesting character, very cool powers, but in the hands of the wrong writer, could be an absolute disaster. Brie Larson will remain Captain Marvel. Yeah, for now, it looks like she has not been replaced, but I wouldn't be surprised if Brie Larson was like shoved to the side and is essentially replaced by Monica Rambeau. That seems like kind of what they're setting up here. Steve Rogers, Captain America, replaced by Sam Wilson. Jeremy, Hawkeye, replaced by Kate Bishop. Hawk, potentially replaced by She-Hulk. Black Panther, potentially replaced by Shuri. Thor, potentially replaced by Jane. There's a pattern here, Then they still got Strange, but now you got the Scarlet Witch, and now you're going to have America Chavez. So it could be tricky. So I think that Gore is going to kill Thor. I hope not. What up, Doom? Was just talking about you several times. Or just promote. This stream was mainly promoting your interview with Miller that everyone's been talking about. I see a new Thor poster. I saw that poster. I was teasing Jay Shockblast about this because Jay reacted to it, and I was like, bro, if that skin came to Marvel's Avengers, you would 100% buy it. I have no doubt. Now, I thought the helmet looked a little iffy, but the rest of the suit I thought was pretty fire. I can bring it up for those that didn't see it. I have no idea what I'm talking about. He looks just like a member of the Nova Corps. Yeah, I'm not that fond of the helmet, but without the helmet, I thought it looked perfect. So this one. Nick Fury indeed in the chat. Yeah, the helmet isn't great. Yeah, definitely looks like a Nova Corps type of deal. I'm not that into that, but without the helmet, he looks really cool. He looks really cool without the helmet. If they just keep the helmet off, it's a great look. I would absolutely cop that if it was in a game. There's a lot of yellow. There's a whole theme. You got Jane. You see Jane in the background. Got her helmet. Is that Captain America holding a gauntlet? No, I believe that's a Iron Man. That's an Iron Man holding a gauntlet. I think Captain America looks like it's holding Mjolnir. It looks like that's Tony Stark. He's you see he's faded because he's dead. The characters in the back are dead, faded. Yeah, he's got the Infinity Gauntlet on his glove because I am Iron Man. Snap. Then you got that looks like Captain America with Mjolnir. You can see the lightning coming around his arm. Then you got Nova Thor with the Stormbreaker. Jane a whole dove. She looks good. She looks good in this one. There was a concept art. There was an individual concept art with both her and Thor. She didn't look good in that one, but she looks good in this picture. Sure, it looks pretty. She looks pretty cool. Yeah, Jane Foster is definitely going to need to be hitting the gym. You know, Natalie Portman, a very small lady. She's definitely going to need to be hitting the gym if she's going to play you know, Valkyrie or essentially. But the outfit does look cool. Broken Hammer Jane, look at all them correct. Yeah, it definitely. I'm a little skeptical about Thor: Love and Thunder, but I'll give it a shot. Thor looks amazing, y'all tripping. Nah, the helmet does look a little goofy. Come on, you know, the suit looks great. The helmet does look a little goofy. There's a picture of him without the helmet. It looks way better. Yeah, Portman hit the gym. So I saw concept art of her in this new outfit, and she still looked pretty small. Like she looked pretty silly in the concept art. I don't know what she looks like now, or what she's going to look like in the final movie. But yeah, I know Thor has no problem. You know, Hemsworth has definitely been hitting the gym hard. No problem there. But yeah, I'm going to need to see Natalie Portman in a trailer or something. She got built up, picture leaked a year ago. I saw a picture of her looking more swole. Show what one, Bill? The one without? Oh, the one without the helmet? Let's see if I can find it. I'll just check images. Should be up by now. Thor: Love and Thunder. Gotta search from the last week, I guess. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, this is them individually. Just Thor and Jane. Thor doesn't have the helmet. Yeah, I think Thor looks much better without the helmet. He also doesn't have all the yellow, the whole yellow sleeve. They just kept him with the armbands. It's still yellow blue, but they put less on him. I think less is more in a lot of cases. I think he looks way better this way. No helmet, no gold sleeve. This is fire. This is what I was talking about. Jane, she look a little small, bro. I mean, they obviously photoshopped her some definition into her arms, but she looked tiny. she still looked like a cosplayer. This looks fire though. If this is Thor's look in Love and Thunder, I can get along with that. I'm not a fan of the helmet and the sleeves as much. Yeah, just the Stormbreaker. Show the arms off a little bit. Showing off the guns. I can roll with that. I think they'll do the cancer story for Thor 4. Nah, this is a very different seems to be very different from the comic storyline. I'm not sure they'll go that route, but they might. Who knows? Yeah, I got to see what Jane looks like in the final production. But yeah, this one ain't it. To me, the design looks cool. She just looks so tiny. It's just weird. But especially standing next to Thor, it doesn't help that she's standing next to Chris Hemsworth, because he looks like Thor. Like, that's Thor. That's literally Thor. I mean, if you combine both of Jane's arms, it wouldn't equal one of Chris Hemsworth's arms, though. Doesn't look great that she's standing next to him. She doesn't need to get that big, but but it does. I don't expect her to get as big as Chris Hemsworth, but she could. They could maybe change her costume a bit, give her some more padding, something like that. If she can't, get buff. But yeah, I gotta see her on set. Not even just on set, but in the final product. Once they do all the movie magic, the CGI, the prosthetics. You'd be surprised. All right, you know what? I'm gonna look this up. All right, Natalie Portman rip. Because I think I know what y'all talking about. I think I know what image you're talking about. It's this one, right? She definitely looks thicker in her upper body. She's posing a little bit though. Yeah, she definitely looks thicker. So I'm hoping that in the final product that'll come across. She could definitely get some more definition, some more bulk, but we'll see. That's why I'm holding my judgment until I see the final product in the costume. But yeah, based on just this concept art, I was like, not there yet. Not there yet, but I'm seeing the progress. I'm seeing the growth. There's definitely some growth there. She's definitely been eating some more steak. You really like a woman muscle? Of course, I am. I'm an unapologetic She-Hulk simp. I do not mind a girl that's got a little muscle. When I was playing when we was playing Guardians of the Galaxy, we were all about Lady Hellbender. Yeah, that was a whole thing. Yeah, I do not mind a girl that hits the gym. She-Hulk can 100% get it. I do not discriminate on that basis. Yeah, depending on the She-Hulk. I'm not a fan of that storyline where they just basically made She-Hulk look like regular Hulk. Like, not for me. They just literally just made her look like a Hulk. No, like the classic She-Hulk, where she actually looks like a woman. She fire. Thoughts on the Disney Plus show for her? I mean, the trailer we didn't see too much, but I saw some dessert. I saw a little bit of dessert, so I'm cautiously optimistic in that regard, but the actual show, it depends on the writing. It's going to, like, that's why I was going to look. That's why I said I was going to look up the writers to see who made it, because that's really going to determine how good the show is going to be. Because, like I said, the writers for the Hawkeye show basically had no writing credits at all. Like, they had no history of successful projects or anything, and it came across in the show. So if they have experienced writers, She-Hulk could be very good. We saw some cake. That's right. Is it safe to replay the campaign? They said they fixed it. Give it a shot. Encanto, I didn't see that one. But it looks like Peter Odin's on the bandwagon. I see you, brother. Love me a strong woman as well. Ain't nothing wrong with a strong woman. You could have done better on Hawkeye. You probably could have. It was not great. Strong woman can get the sheet. All right, guys, it's almost time for the members only stream. I mean, the members only gaming session. So I gotta run, but it was great as usual. Definitely a more interesting edition of Super News. I'll say that. Definitely went off the rails a bit, but you never know what you're going to get in a Sadot the Gamer stream. That was great. Definitely shout out to my twin Doom, Peter Odin. Definitely check him out to see that full interview with Miller. Miller is also going to be tonight on FKNA, the podcast, and Miller is streaming 24/7 on Twitch. Want to check him out. Rip to Unfitted. Another idiot lost the first ban of 2022. Hopefully I don't have to ban many more. But thank you guys. I'm Sadot the Gamer, signing out.